Hi you guys, I am so excited that in today's video we are talking about the new Commander Masters set that came out recently. I'm partnering with Nerd Lab. He's an awesome content creator for Magic the Gathering, creating really helpful, useful, and just hilarious content to help you on your Magic journey. So make sure you're checking him out, but you're gonna have to, because in this video where I'm partnering with Nerd Lab, we picked out our top 7 Commander Masters cards. One for each in Wooburg, so one white, one blue, etc. But then also one colorless and one 5-colored card. So we have 7 cards each that we're going to be talking through of why we think they're the best cards from this Commander Master set. But you have to check out his content to make sure that my commentary on what his picks are makes sense. So it's technically a 2-part video. Watch mine and then go watch his and let us know what you think, if we picked out the right cards, if we agree with each other's or not for the right reasons. We really want to hear what you guys have to say about this set as well. So let's go ahead and kick things off. All right, so I am so excited to be talking about the cards that I am most looking forward to coming out in Commander Masters. These are some of my favorite cards, some of the best cards that I'm thinking are coming out. These are things that I am very much looking forward to, and I hope you are as well. So we are actually going to be picking out one card for everything in Wooburg, a colorless card, and a multicolored card. So there will be 7 cards in total we are talking about, and we're just going to go ahead and kick things off, going through Wooburg order with white Grand Abolisher here. So I am looking forward to Grand Abolisher. There is the regular printing, the foil etched printing, and then the alternate art by Richard Kane Ferguson. I think he did such a good job here with this alternate art. I love all of his style. It's just such a unique and when you see his artwork style, you know it's from Ferguson. So I'm so excited about this alternate art here. But Grand Abolisher is a card that I think is such good protection. It's a low cost creature, but it's really good protection for your turn. I love to see protection in white. That's a really big thing that we're getting anyways from white. But I like to play Grand Abolisher late game. Oh, I say that. I like to play. I actually have never played Grand Abolisher because I have never been willing to spend the money on Grand Abolisher. So actually before the spoiling season started for Commander Masters, Grand Abolisher was up to $27.37. That was right before spoilers. So that's a little bit more on the more expensive side for me personally, that I'm not really spending more than like $5 on cards, unless it's a card that I super need for a deck. And so of course I'm gonna save up and splurge. But Grand Abolisher is a card that I've always wanted. I've never really wanted to spend $30 on him, but now getting reprinted for Commander Masters, he is down to $11.99. So cut in half. I'm more than happy to spend $12 on Grand Abolisher. So I'm so excited to finally be able to put him into a deck. I love keeping this more for a late game if I can get some kind of protection for him to keep him on my battlefield. But having him come out late game so that all the things that are happening on my end, on my turn, I can keep protection so that my opponents can't mess with what I'm trying to do. So he's not going to be the biggest threat on the board late game, but still keeping that kind of protection on my turn. He's a great card to keep late game. If you can get him early game, I think that's great as well. But it's going to be one of the earlier threats, something that is going to be targeted pretty soon because people want to be able to do shenanigans and all of that kind of chaos throwing. So I like to see this more late game kind of a thing where it's not going to be the biggest threat, but it's still a really good card to keep on my battlefield. So I'm so excited to finally be able to afford Grand Abolisher. Going into blue, I have Fact or Fiction. So there is the regular printing for Fact or Fiction, but then there's also an alternate art by, again, Richard Kane Ferguson. I love the blue fairy here. I love the juxtaposition between the light and the dark, the sun up above, the moon down below, how the mountainscape folds into the fairy. The artwork is just so beautiful. But Fact or Fiction, again, is a card that I've actually never gotten, not for any particular reason, but having this artwork from Ferguson, I am definitely snatching one of these up. So being able to I just love the chaos, right? I'm a chaos player, so having to be able to reveal cards from the top of my library, my opponent separates them into piles, and then I get to put one of those piles into my hand. I just love that kind of chaos where you never really know what you're going to get. Obviously, if you're building good decks, if you're appreciating every single card in your deck, then no matter what pile you're getting things separated into, you're going to get something that you're looking forward to. So as long as you're just mindful of not just throwing in filler cards, that every single card in your deck, no matter what stage in the game you're pulling something, and it's going to be helpful, as long as you're keeping that in mind while you're deck building, then I think Fact or Fiction is a wonderful card. So I'm really excited for this artwork and really excited to get Fact or Fiction. The first card that I actually do have and I run in my Toxrill the Corrosive deck is going to be Grave Pact. Again, this is major chaos and definitely a really hated card. There is the regular printing, a foil etched printing, but the alternate art here by Kev Walker, I just think really puts the nail on the head for what I envision Grave Pact to be. I think the simplicity here, the softness, but still the turmoil that's happening because of what's happening from this enchantment. It's whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. So I just love that chaos again. So your opponents definitely are going to hate you. They are going to hate your deck. They're going to try to do everything that they can to not only remove this card, but to get revenge. So keep that in mind. But Grave Pact as an enchantment, I think is really strong because it is protection, but you can throw it out there and say, hey, as long as I'm getting rid of a creature, hey, you guys have to as well. And then if you are running sacrifice decks where you don't mind getting rid of creatures, you're having creatures die and do all these shenanigans on their own anyways, then you're just progressing the gameplay. And we all know EDH games can run sometimes 4 or 5 hours, which is a little bit ridiculous. So having cards like Grave Pact that are able to, control the game a little bit more, make sure it's moving along, going at a good pace, I think that those cards are always good to have in your deck. It's chaos in game, but it's also helping you guys as players being able to wrap a game up, get another one in if you would like. So I love the chaos there. For my red pick, I am actually picking, I know, a hated card, Treasure Nabber. So yeah, he's the janky dockside, whatever, but I actually am really looking forward to Treasure Nabber in this set. Again, there's the regular and foil etch printing. We're going to be mostly looking at the alternate art here by Pete Venters, my bad. But Treasure Nabber, whenever an opponent taps an artifact for mana, gain control of that artifact until end of turn of your next turn. So all those arcane signets, the command sphere, soul rings, whatever anybody is tapping, you're able to get that. Most likely it's going to be mana rocks. So really looking forward to, again, the janky effect of a dockside. You're not getting treasure tokens, but hey, we're still getting that artifact. So you're messing with your opponent's gameplay so they don't have the mana to use things on their turns. Maybe they have other artifacts that you are really looking for that you don't run in your deck. But if we're all getting multiple soul rings on our decks, how fun is that? So Treasure Nabber, yeah, he's a little bit janky, but I've never really wanted to run him before, but I'm looking forward to him in this deck just because I think for the drafting experience, it's really a good card to help your gameplay out. It progresses you much more quickly as long as you're able to get him out soon. So Treasure Nabber here I think is really good, especially as a draft pull. Going on to green, I'm going to be looking at Finale of Devastation. The alternate art here is beautiful. There's so much happening with the card break art, going over top of the titles and everything. I love the background, the simplicity of the background, the more monochromatic tones, but still just really getting that anger going in with true fashion following Finale of Devastation's ability here. So being able to search your library or graveyard for a creature card with mana value X or less, put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle. If X is 10 or more, creatures you control get +X/+S and gain haste until end of turn. So as a sorcery, I think this is really strong. We've seen him played lots in EDH. Of course, that's why he's being printed in this master set. The price point for him wasn't crazy, so it's not something, well, I guess we will talk about. So he was kind of up there before spoiler season at $33.71. As of the recording this, he is down to $24, so not as big of a change as I would hope to see, but still the drop is nice. So I am hoping to be able to run this more often. I've never run this before, but especially with the alternate art, I'm definitely looking forward to buying this as a single. Okay, so the multicolored card I'm so looking forward to is a card that's always been played against me. I've never played. She is a wonderful 3-cost creature that's actually a 5/5. It's going to be Xantra's Sleeper Agent. She enters the battlefield under control of an opponent of your choice. She can't attack its owner or planeswalkers its owner controls. So, getting that chaos going of you have to attack with her, 2 other people. But you can tap 3 and Xantra's controller loses 2 life and you draw a card. Any player may activate this ability. So if you are in control of Xantra, you're able to go ahead, tap 3, use that ability. If something's happening, if you're throwing in politics into the game and you're trying to make deals, you're trying to make sure that stuff doesn't happen, but it's not going in your direction, maybe they go back on a deal, you can go ahead and tap that mana to have that controller's Xantra's controller lose life and you then get to draw a card. But specifically what I love about this is it's just tap 3. So if you have multiple mana open, you can do this multiple times, getting multiple card draw and making sure that its controller is losing lots of life. So you're able to buff this up pretty quickly. I think Xantra definitely is a sleeper agent because people definitely sleep on her. They are not running Xantra like they should, so definitely make sure you pick up Xantra from this season, especially the foil etched is just beautiful. Finally, we are going to be looking at my colorless option, which is going to be Campfire. This was only printed once before. I think it was Baldur's Gate set, but it's an artifact that costs 1. You can tap 1 in it to gain 2 life, or tap 2 in it, exiling Campfire, putting all commanders you own from your command zone and from your graveyard into your hand, then shuffle your graveyard into your library. So I'm running multiple high-cost commanders. I'm running Toxel the Corrosive, Gisela Blade of Gold Knight. And then there are all these other really amazing commanders, or Dragon, and they're really good, and so they cost a lot, which makes a lot of sense, but that command tax can be daunting. So with Campfire, we're really able to cheat out not paying attention to the commander tax by putting them in our graveyard, and then we're able to do this shenanigan to get them into our hand, and then shuffling our graveyard into our library. So you're not only getting your commander back if you put it from the graveyard, but then you're able to shuffle the rest of your graveyard into your library, making sure that you have card draw, that you are not going to mill out, all of those kinds of things. So it really back ends shenanigans not happening to you, so you're able to control the chaos a little bit more. You just need to watch out for those players that like to exile graveyards. But I think Campfire is a good card, especially if you're having high cost commanders. So definitely keep this in mind. Don't be sleeping on Campfire. Make sure you get nice and toasty over by the campfire.
Hello everybody, my name is Brian from Nerd Lab, and I've been challenged to pick my favorite cards from Commander Masters. And the first one I picked is Boon of the Spirit Realm. In mid-power decks, Boon of the Spirit Realm is going to be a beast. Anthems are already strong enough, but then you tack on Constellation on top of it, it's going to be awesome. Whenever Boon of the Spirit Realm or another enchantment enters a battlefield under your control, put a blessing counter on Boon of the Spirit Realm. Then, creatures you control get a +1/+1 counter for each blessing counter on Boon of the Spirit Realm. This means your creatures are going to get huge because it's an enter the battlefield trigger.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and agree with Nerd Lab here for Boon of the Spirit Realm. For Enchantress decks, I think this is really strong. Constellation's really good. I love to see the +1/+1 counters for each counter on Boon of the Spirit Realm. I think that's really strong, really powerful. I love to see all of our little guys get bumped up really huge. My Soul Warden, when she becomes a Swole Warden, love to see it. Spirited Companion, like he's saying, a 32/32, that'd be insane. So anytime that you can act like you got all these little guys, these cute little creatures, but Boon of the Spirit Realm is going to make them giants, I'm here for it.
My next pick is Titan of Littjara, which I'm sure I'm pronouncing right. Did blue need more card draw? No, but I like how they did it here. First off, it's an ETB effect. You put this thing in a flicker deck and you're getting crazy value out of it. The second thing I love is that it promotes tribal. I know they're trying to call it typal. I'm not there yet. So anything that is a strong card that is good for newer players, I'm all about it. The last thing I really love about this card is the fact that it's a Titan. That means when it enters a battlefield, it gets the effect, and when it attacks, it gets the effect.
All right, I'm a little bit in the middle on Titan of Letargia. I kind of do agree because there are a lot of ETB effects, especially for the flicker deck, like he's saying here. The card draw is really nice. It is a big beefy guy already of a 6/6 creature, which I would hope so because it costs 6 to get out. But the reason that I am going to go ahead and give this a thumbs up with Nerd Lab is because it is a tribal card, and I'm a tribal player. So anything typal or tribal, I'm always going to be here for it. So Titan of Letargia, 1 thumb up in my book.
The next card up is Demon of Fate's Design. Black has really needed some good support for enchantments, so right off the bat, I love this card. The next thing that really sold me on this card is the mana reduction. Mana reduction is good. Card draw is good. Enchantress decks are already known for having good card draw, so when you add some mana reduction, especially ones that pretty much pay for themselves, it's a plus. And you put all of that goodness onto a 6/6 body with flying and trample. You put this in a deck with like Boon of the Spirit Realm and buff up its power and toughness, you're going to kill somebody. Not to mention the fact that you can only pay 3 mana, sacrifice another enchantment, and get that extra couple damage through that you need to finish the game. This card is awesome.
Okay, so far, I'm going to say this is his best pick. I think Demon of Fate's Design is very strong. A 6/6 flyer with trample, very good. It does cost 6 again, so whatever. But you have options here. You have options. So if it's your turn, you may cast enchantment spells by paying life. So that mana reduction, like he's saying, very strong. Always going to be strong. You have this in lots of cards for black. So I know that the Keurig cards, they're all just going to synergize together. So really good there. But then the bottom ability, tap 2 in a black and sacrifice an enchantment card. And then this guy gets +X+0, where it's that card's CMC. Super strong. I would be stacking stuff all the time anyways. We're playing black. We can have graveyard recursion. We're not worried about it. And at the end of the day, with all the options here, this is a very strong card. So double thumbs up from this one.
Then to maybe my favorite card from this new set, Guff Rewrites History. If you don't know the lore behind Guff, please do yourself a favor and go check it out. I'm really surprised they even put him in a set. This card has a lot of text, but ultimately what it means is for each of your opponents, you're going to pick a non-land permanent. They're going to shuffle that permanent into their library, and they're going to exile cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. And then they can cast that card for free. I can really see this card flipping games upside down on their head. The person in first place can lose their best piece and end up flipping into a Mind Stone, while the person in last place could flip into like an Ulamog or a Zakama and end up taking control of the game. The randomness, the interaction, the intrigue that this card is going to bring is everything I personally love about Magic.
Okay, scratch that. This is the card. This is the top card so far. Gruff Rewrites History. It is chaos. It is craziness. I'm always going to be here for that. It's an instant, so I'm hoping that you're going to be playing this in decks where there are lots of shenanigans going on, so you can get this guy back and play it another time. Yeah, you're going to make enemies. You're getting rid of a really strong card, most likely, from your opponent's battlefield, and then you're also having them exile things, getting rid of lots of things. So, there's a lot that's going on here. So you're definitely going to be making enemies. So make sure you play it at the right time in your game. But just the chaos that's happening. I love it when games aren't predictable. And even though you might be playing the same decks, playing the same people, something different is always going to be happening. So that chaos that's happening, all the thumbs up in my book.
Now, going to green, one of my favorite cards of all time that desperately needed yet again another reprint, Doubling Season. Anytime you can double anything, it's a very strong effect. But the fact that you can double token generation and counters is insane. The price is going to drop for this card. Buy it up as soon as you can because it will skyrocket once again, because this will always be a good card until it gets banned. And I hope it never does.
I love that he brought up Doubling Season here. It is a staple. It's always going to be an all-time favorite of mine. Anytime that I'm running green, of course, I'm going to be thinking about this. It is situational for your decks, obviously, if you're getting counters or tokens, but I mean, it's very, very strong. But I do love the fact here that he's saying that it wasn't in desperate need of a reprint. Of course, I think doubling season, it's super strong, right? So everybody's wanting to play it. But the fact that it's getting a reprint here, helping that real world money cost go down, I think is really awesome. So kudos to doubling season here getting reprinted.
All right, we need more colorless decks. Dark Steel Monolith is going to help us get there. And we already talked about how mana reduction is good. Well, artifacts already have a good mana reduction synergy, so you're probably going to be able to get this out for much less than 8. But once you do get it out, you're going to be able to pay 0 for any colorless spell. That includes your big, beautiful Eldrazi. And Eldrazi care about being cast, so you're not able to just cheat them out in other ways and get the same effect. And the fact that it has indestructible and can protect itself is big. That'll pay huge dividends in your endgame.
Is Darksteel Monolith just a colorless, indestructible omniscience? I think it is. That's pretty crazy. I'm not going to want to see this in any of my opponent's decks. I already have someone in my play group that's running an Eldrazi deck. He does not need to know about this card. Yeah, super strong, indestructible. I mean, it costs a lot to get out, but if you're playing colorless Eldrazi's anyways, you're already used to that high CMC. The fact that it's indestructible, I think, is really strong. So, yeah, I don't want to see this in anybody's deck.
Now, when it comes to a multicolored card, there are some amazing commanders in this set, and it was really tough picking between them, and so I just kind of took the easy route, and I went with one of the new ones, an Ixthea Hand of Erebos.
Okay, so I'm not showing a lot of content for his colorful pick, his like multicolored card. He chose Ixthea Hand of Erebos. It's actually a card that I've never really heard of before, so I thought it was just really interesting to hear what he had to say about it. He has like this whole thing. Go check him out. He has some really extra special goodies for you guys in his description, so you want to check that out for sure. But I just really like that he picked this card and appreciate it because being a card that I've never heard of before, he's saying that it represents the colors from her color pie very well, that it's adding interesting gameplay to commander games where, you know, she's slow to get out, but once she does, she's really rewarding you and rewarding your deck and your gameplay overall for helping you get out these big, awesome, really fun to play creatures or just cards in general. So that idea there of how the interaction happens in gameplay, I'm really appreciative of him taking that stance, and I would be interested to not only see but to play myself in an Ixthea deck. So exciting there. You know, she has Menace, which is also super cool, but it does seem like she has options. So I always love to have options, especially in a commander card, that you're getting to use her for whatever you need at certain times. So I think it's a really interesting pick for his multicolored card. I would love to hear what you guys have to say of everything that he's actually going to be talking about for this card. So in order to hear what your thoughts are, you have to go check out his video. It's going to go in detail a lot more, and I would love to hear what you guys say from what he's going to be giving out to you. So make sure you go check out his video. Let us know in the comments what you think, if you think we picked the right cards or not. Overall, I think we had a lot of really fun cards, but I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. All right, so if you made it here, that means you made it to the end of the video. So thank you so much for sticking around and hanging out with me today, listening to all of my little thoughts about this new set, these new cards. I would love to have you go over check out Nerd Lab's video so that you can get a full idea of everything we were talking about today. But if you want to come back, maybe give a like and subscribe to this channel. It really supports my content to let me know I should keep doing these kinds of things. I would love to partner with more creators, especially ones awesome like Nerd Lab. But overall, if you guys could just put in the comments what you thought of these cards. Did we pick the right ones? Did we miss any of the really good ones? What are your favorite picks from this Commander Master set? Please let me know down in the comments. And as always, happy gaming.